The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Coming from two guys who are not made of glass, it's Trevor Beggs, it's Kyle Bowen, and you're listening to Locked On Canucks. One love to you and you for tuning in. And man, oh man, one love to Thatcher Demko, who it sounds like he's not going to play another game for the Canucks this season. Adam Foote really subtly mentioned it earlier this month that it might be possible that we're going to shut him down, but and more started to emerge on this. We'll get into the Demko news. We'll get into some other updates around this team and players that are being called on from the Vancouver Canucks as well. But before we do that, let me introduce my co-host, Kyle Bowen. Kyle, I like to think that you're made of titanium more than glass, man. I don't think I've ever seen you hurt.
What are you talking about? Last year I was in the hospital around this time. Almost had a heart attack.
Yeah, but that was illness, man. That was illness. And dude, you kicked its ass.
I did kick its ass, man. That's what happens, man, when you eat chicken curry, man. My dad delivered me chicken curry after they put like little things on my chest to protect me from that so-called heart attack. Next thing you know, I'm back to being the Findu I've always been, and I'm healthy. Speaking of health, Thatcher Demko, never healthy. Thatcher Demko, probably my favorite Vancouver Canuck too, because he's like someone who bleeds blue and green, but the problem is he's always bleeding. For real. Like way too much. And let's just go here, Trevor. Can the Canucks go into next season not with $10 million, what would it be, $13 million between the pipes, but can they go into next season with $20 million tied to Demko and Elias Pettersson? I know they're rebuilding and money's maybe not everything, but to me, money is something, especially when it comes to like Aquilini not building a practice facility and him not paying doctors and him using ChatGPT to like fix the health situations in that locker room. So to me, money is something, and Demko's not present, just like Elias Pettersson. Sometimes that guy's not present, and I just wonder if the Canucks can like move forward with that much money being wasted, because now I've come to the conclusion that I don't think Demko's ever going to be healthy. For real. Ever. It's not going to happen, Trevor. This guy is, who would you compare him to? It's like, who was that guy that played for your
Sammy Salo of Vancouver Canucks goaltenders?
Sorry, who?
He's the Sammy Salo of Vancouver Canucks goaltenders.
Even your favorite basketball team, the Portland Trailblazers, they had that Greg Oden guy. They had another guy named like, I think Roy or something. He was always hurt. Just like, he just one of those, his body can't do it. His body can't do it. And you know what? Scratch that question I just asked you, because I just saw that YouTube short that you just posted. Are you blaming the Canucks for this? Because I feel like you're wrong. Like, you're saying that maybe they should invest in better medical staff so they could like have proper diagnosis. But to me, it's like, nah, we've seen this in sport. This is on biology and Demko's parents. No, not Demko's parents.
Whoa.
Just saying, like, he's going to get, like, it happens to some athletes, and Thatcher Demko's one of those guys.
Look, I will say, I think Thatcher Demko was behind the 8 ball from when he had double hip surgery before he turned 21, I believe, right? Like that's a tough surgery to go through as a goaltender when, you're using your hips a lot, right? And again, I'm not a doctor, but I could see that throwing off a lot of other things in his body. Now, that being said, we've seen the reports from Patrick Johnson, how the Canucks had, understaffed some of their physiotherapy department. We've seen things in this market like Chris Tanev go through multiple injuries, and there'd be some questions about, what he went through when he was injured in Vancouver. Obviously, the whole Tanner Pearson debacle, which drew the ire of some teammates. Even Teddy Bluger, who's coming back tonight for the Vancouver Canucks, he was supposed to be out for a month. He was skating in early November. It looked like he was coming back, and here he is making his return 3 months after originally getting injured on October 19th. So, yeah, I do wonder if the Canucks are investing enough in their medical staff. I think there's been enough smoke around this to at least ask the question. And in terms of other investments too, I mean, look, this is a team that spent at the payroll. Don't get me wrong, but you get the practice facility mess. You got the fact that, they got some of the worst ice in the league and haven't done anything about that in years and years now. I think there's enough around the team to ask, what is going on? I know you got an owner that wants to spend to the cap and make the playoffs and all this, But like they did in the Mike Gillis era, which in fairness, Aquilini was in charge for, in the Mike Gillis era, they were renowned for improving the locker room, trying to improve, getting sleep doctors on board, the nutritional plans, like all that stuff. It made the Canucks seem like a first-class organization. And it's just funny, not really in a ha-ha way, that under the same ownership group, we're now asking these questions that the Canucks were once so renowned for about 15 years ago.
Even going back to like last year in September, JT Miller hurt in training camp. The year before that, Elias Pettersson playing with tendonitis or whatever. Like everyone just been getting hurt in Vancouver. Is it the sushi? Is it the marijuana? Is it
marijuana?
Is it the air? I don't know. Like I heard some interesting things regarding science and the San Francisco 49ers practice facility, and like where it is located next to like, I don't know, like radioactive waves, and it's making muscles less firm and strong. No, look how injured they were this year. I'm just saying, like, it could be a lot of factors, but I guess what you're trying to say, again, go watch Trevor's YouTube short. This guy's like, yo, like invest in this and that, and like put the money back into rehab and all this jazz. And I guess what you're trying to say, it's pretty clear that the Canucks have a huge injury problem, and it's not just a Thatcher Demko thing. All that being said, to me, it still is a Thatcher Demko thing. Like I know he's been a member of the Canucks, and he's suffered through all these injuries, but like I'm pretty sure I googled that this guy missed 18 weeks of under 8 ice hockey because he had a paper cut. Like I'm just saying, like he just strikes me as one of those athletes. Like I'm trying to like Andrew Luck with concussions. Like that's a lot different, but he just strikes me as one of those guys, unfortunately, where his body can't do it. Like maybe he's going to be a great goaltending coach, and that's where he's going to, prove to the NHL and prove to the legacy of the game that he is amongst the best goaltenders in hockey. But on the ice, performance-wise, because again, your best trait is being available. Like Trevor, like what are we even doing here? What are we even doing here? And now they can't even disclose what it is. Like, is it a hip, a knee, a groin? Rick Dhaliwal saying, no, it's not the knee and the groin, but we're not going to say it's the hip. Like, did this guy suffer another paper cut? And I'm not trying to take shots. It's life. And going back to July, or I guess late June, or whenever a free agent frenzy opened up, the fact that the Canucks extended this guy for $8.5 million before giving him another chance to prove that he could stay healthy is A, mind-boggling, B, probably happening because they want to convince Quinn Hughes that people want to stay here in Vancouver. A lot of factors, but it's another L for management because, you talk about this team going into next season being another tank team. Like the salary cap shouldn't matter so much, and wasting money shouldn't matter so much. But if there's rumors about the Aquilini as being quote unquote cheap, maybe saving millions of dollars on players that are not playing for your team could bode well if you want to invest in this and that, whether it be staff members, better doctors, or saving up for a practice facility. So to me, like the millions of dollars do mean something because again, it's $20 million for Elias Pettersson and Thatcher Demko.
Yeah, and look, let's be realistic here. Like Thatcher Demko's not going anywhere, right? Yeah, he's going to hold the cards out. No one's trading for Thatcher Demko when he's played 44 of a possible 159 games for the Canucks since his injury in March of 2024, right? Like he's been on the ice for 27% of the Canucks games, which to me even seems like a high number in almost the past full 2 calendar years, right? So no one's trading for him. Pettersson's a different story. Of course, get off that money, rebuild for the future, start investing in your team, your facilities, your staff. I mean, those are wise things, but let's just, maybe wrap up on this. And the actual report from Rick Dhaliwal, which you alluded to it a bit, it's not the groin, it's not the knee, according to Dhaliwal, it could be the hip. But to me, I found it interesting that Thatcher Demko is, finally coming to a conclusion of the injury that's been bugging him for 2 to 3 years. That's not the groin and the knee. And he's consulting medical professionals. Rick Dhaliwal doesn't know where, but outside of Vancouver, it's like, how has this been going on for 2 to 3 years? And only now, once you've consulted professionals outside of the Canucks organization, which doesn't have the greatest track record to begin with, are you finally getting to the bottom of this? I mean, the Vancouver Canucks should have access to some of the best medical care in the world, right?
Yeah.
And seemingly they don't. So I don't know, man. Like I said, there's certainly smoke here. And at the end of the day, just one love to Thatcher Demko. But I think it's more than fair to ask questions about what kind of investments are being made in the medical staff here in Vancouver. And it's on me to do the deep dive too, man. Mr. Big J Journalist over here.
Get in there. You know what you should do when you're at the game today? What you should do is purposely break a finger and see how people in Rogers Arena react. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just see what, like, you know, like if you break your finger, are they going to put a cast around your foot? Because then you'll know. Last note on Thatcher Demko, and I cracked a joke. I feel for him. He's my favorite Canuck because he bleeds blue and green, but he bleeds a lot. Nick Bondi made that hilarious joke how Thatcher Demko's the new 11.6, aka the new 8.5, because he could only play 8.5 games per year. But all jokes aside, I think another thing that this team got wrong, and this relates to the level of goaltending they've gotten on the ice, is quote unquote blaming Ian Clark for pushing Thatcher Demko so hard. Also blaming Thatcher Demko himself for pushing himself so hard, ultimately leading to like a change in their goaltending dynamics as an organization. And they're demoting Ian Clark and bringing in Oscar Tolopoulos or whatever this guy's name is. And sure, I know Lankinen played well last year, albeit he didn't play well in the last like 15 games. Them going backwards so backwards when it comes to like demoting Ian Clark has blown up in their face. It really has.
Yeah,
it really
absolutely.
Has. That's another decision professionally that Rutherford and Alvin have gotten wrong here. And at the end of the day, it wasn't Ian Clark's fault. It wasn't, again, whether it be the medical staff's fault or not, who knows? To me, again, I'm gonna blame Thatcher Demko's biology, and this is just his destiny. It feels like. Sorry, Thatcher Demko, for saying that. You may want to, shove your blocker down my throat for saying that and all that stuff. But just we got to start making some right decisions. And Trevor, going back to like all of this and what's about to happen in a couple months with the draft lottery and the draft itself and all the changes that this team has to make outside of already making the Quinn Hughes trade, it's like, do you really want Rutherford and Alvin making these decisions? And I'll say it again. Roberto Luongo should be a prime candidate, ironically, to save the day here in Vancouver. Because I'm losing all my trust in Canucks management for real. Like, it's easy to get 2 second-round picks for Kiefer Sherwood. It really is. Theoretically speaking, it's easy to trade Quinn Hughes because everyone wants him. Like, you can get a package for him. In fact, Rutherford didn't even counteroffer Minnesota. So I'm not going to give him the gold medal for those acquisitions. I'm just gonna sit here and be like, I'm actually losing all my faith in anyone making hockey decisions in that organization.
Man, oh man, Roberto Luongo for the GM job. You're getting spicy, man, on a hump day. Unbelievable. Let us know in the comments. Do you want Roberto Luongo to be the next GM of the Vancouver Canucks? Let's talk more about decisions from this Canucks team on the other side. Maybe down to more Foote versus the players. What? Stop causing drama, Kyle. We'll be back on the other side here on Locked On Canucks. Before we get back to it, let's shout out our friends over at Indeed. If you ever hired someone who looked good on paper or even on camera, but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed's sponsored jobs. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsors jobs, puts your post at the top of the page, and helps you reach the right candidates faster. And I know if I needed to hire someone for this show, anyone want to produce Locked On Canucks? Let's go. I would be going straight to Indeed. Be very specific about what we need. Real experience, or maybe just a little bit of experience, not just a resume buzzword. And guess what? According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. Everyone loves a good job. So spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of the show get a $75 sponsored job credit. Wow. To help give you your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/locked on. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast, Locked On Canucks. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Speaking of the people, let's get to your comments here again on Locked On Canucks. JLo saying, yo, I love Kyle. His insights are, and most of the things he says are right, but please, if this is really your team, please say all the names right. I know sometimes you're joking. Trevor, I don't know if people believe me, but I started reading books at the age of 25. That's because my parents were always working as, an immigrant family. And, they weren't really hard on me for doing my homework and weren't checking my planner. So I actually do have trouble saying people's names. And like Trevor, before we started this episode, what was I listening to? You heard the music I was listening to. What was I listening to?
Yeah, it was like ADHD focus music.
Thank you. So I got problems, and I'm only 32 and a half years old. When I get to 40 years old, I'll probably be able to announce things the right way. But until then, it's going to be a problem. And Trevor, people don't know this, that you can't reveal the story on Locked On Canucks, but quote unquote, just like that story about Thatcher Demko and his paper cut injury, I had an injury too a couple summers ago. That's, led to a lot of problems with my voice, Trevor.
Right. Yeah. The longtime listeners of Locked On Canucks know this. I felt for you, man. I think your voice sounds better than ever. You recovered real well.
Yeah.
That was a rough time. And neck brace and all. It was a scary thing. Much like watching the Vancouver Canucks this season can be a scary thing. We mentioned that Teddy Blueger's back in the lineup. Aatu Räty is going to be the guy who sits out for the Vancouver Canucks. Kyle, do you care about this? Because maybe it's just me, man. Maybe I got the bias after talking to Aatu Räty on Saturday. I just feel for the guy. I don't think he's been superb, but I think he's been better than David Kampf. Now, I think at this point, you just got to showcase Kampf and Blueger and try to trade one of them as soon as possible. I do believe Aatu Räty will get his time. But I don't think he's been treated quite fairly by the coaching staff this season. For a guy who works as hard as he does, for the even strength production he's had compared to a guy like David Kampf, I don't really feel like Aatu Räty's gotten a fair shake here in Vancouver. Not to mention, he's the most elite face-up guy in the NHL that's under the age of 30 by far.
Can you elaborate on that? Can you elaborate on that before I give my opinion? Like,
yeah,
you told me that on, like, when did you come into the studio? And I brushed by it, but you just talk about Aatu Räty and his ability down the middle.
Yeah, that was for the postcast on Saturday night after the 6-0 loss to the Oilers. But just a guy who's really studied his craft really well, started working on it, with the Finnish junior team. When a coach said you could work on your faceoffs more, and he took it as a bit of a slight, but he's very dedicated to his craft. You can see one of the few guys that takes faceoffs on his offside. Another guy that does it in the NHL is Claude Giroux, who, by the way, leads the NHL in faceoff percentage. But if you look at the leaders in faceoff percentage this season, Kyle, it's Claude Giroux, it's JT Miller, it's Jonathan Taves. It's mainly veteran guys. Like Aatu Räty's the only guy up there who regularly takes faceoffs who's pushing 60%. Like, for the most part in the NHL, and you talk to other guys as well, like Elias Pettersson's talked about this before, it is hard to win faceoffs in the NHL as a young guy. Also veterans as well, and Aatu Räty alluded to this, veterans also get the benefit of the doubt a lot of the time from officials based on the relationship they have and just knowing where to put their stick to win a draw properly. Young guys like Räty often don't get that benefit. So not only is he up there among the league leaders, he's the only young guy who's up among the league leaders, and he's not necessarily getting the benefit from linesmen like a lot of the veterans do.
Yeah, I hear you. That to me is telling me that Aatu Räty is taking that part of his game extremely seriously. That being said, I want to see more from him. Like, make it impossible for them to take you out of the lineup. Like, this is one of your first real long looks as an NHL player. And, he's been what he's been. And that's like, what, a 23-year-old who's lacked all this experience in the NHL or whatnot. And like, kudos to him for sticking around. But to me, there hasn't been enough consistency in his overall game for me to be completely upset that this team is choosing asset management when it comes to what they could get for Blueger and Kampf, as opposed to like doing what's best for the future of this organization. That's keeping Aatu Ratu happy. Like Aatu Ratu should look at the situation and not demand a trade. He shouldn't be mad at the coaching staff. He should be mad at himself for not being better. For real. That's just me. Now, Trevor, is there a chance that he's petty about it? Probably, because look at the leaders on this team. Elias Pettersson, you know? So it could happen. Like, that's the problem with the leadership in this locker room. Like, you never know how young guys are going to react based on their experiences as NHL players, and them being like, you know what? Since I've been here, Quinn Hughes quit and he was pouting a lot. Oh, Miller pouts a lot. Pettersson pouts a lot. Besser pouts a lot. So maybe that's life as an NHL player. When you don't get your way, it's okay to pout, as opposed to just like being the last one off the ice. So I'm interested to see how that goes, and to transition to the next point of this conversation, because I don't really want to talk about Aatu Ratu for 15 minutes. I am really interested in tonight's game for a lot of reasons, based off of what Foote said to the media a couple nights ago. And for me personally, and maybe this is me making a lot out of nothing, which Tyler Myers wouldn't like, based on what he said today to the media in regards to Adam Foote's comments. But to me, this is one of the most important games in a long time for the Vancouver Canucks. Because if you don't get the response from some guys, like I'm making like a serious note of that. And yeah, Adam Foote may not be around for a long time, and some players in that room could be like, you know what? Why would we listen to a lame duck coach? Like, he's not going to be here, you know? But if Pettersson and Besser don't finish their checks, if they're not converting, if they're not playing the game of the season, for me personally, I'm taking that personal. And I'm taking that as another example of a couple guys collecting checks. And going back to what Tyler Myers said, and he's trying to like water down the situation, saying, oh, let's not make this a bigger deal than it is. We only had a couple players slamming sticks, being negative in last night's game, or whatever, a couple nights ago. Tyler Myers, I'm sorry, but shut up. That comment wasn't related to just the last game. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I constantly say, because Tyler Myers, do you think he's somebody that is completely accountable about his mistakes on the ice or his mistakes? He's been a mistake-prone player for like forever. A guy that clearly doesn't learn from his mistakes unless he starts playing playing less. So I'm going to say it again. I'm sick and tired of Tyler Myers being the best leader on this team. I'm sick and tired of the fifth or sixth best defenseman being the voice of reason in that room, because you're not going to win like that if that guy's the voice of reason. And today we saw another disconnect from the leadership to the management or the people up top, whether it be the coaching staff or the GM. Like, they're saying one thing and the players are saying something completely different. And to me, it's like, how could the players say something completely different based on the results? You guys have lost 11 straight games. You guys should have missed the playoffs once again.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm really curious to see the response tonight. And like you said, Adam Foote's probably not going to be around for a long time. But if your veterans lay an egg after being called out like that by Adam Foote, I think that signals to you that they're not long for this rebuild and they shouldn't be here, right? And the Canucks, obviously, they should be listening on all guys. They sounds like they are listening on all guys. But man, oh man, like tonight's an interesting moment, because I think it's either guys are going to play their ass off in terms of, maybe proving A, that they want to get traded, or that they, want to be part of the solution, or B, that you got to just ship them out regardless of what you get, because they shouldn't be in this city and in this situation. All right, Kyle, let's wrap up on the other side. I got some great comments to get to, and it'll spark an interesting look back in the time machine. That's coming up next on Locked On Canucks. Before we get back to it, let's shout out our friends over at FanDuel. Let's go! Man, I'm in playoff mode. FanDuel is in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, and every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. For this weekend, man, the Seattle Seahawks. 2.5 point favorites at home over the LA Rams. That's basically a pick 'em game with the home team getting a bit of an edge there. I'm stoked, man. I can't wait. Yo, what are you doing Sunday, man? You want to watch me? Want to watch me go bananas or cry? What's going on, Kyle?
What am I doing Sunday? I'm working on. Well, all the illustrations are done on that book, so we're just finalizing some book stuff. So I won't be like taking time out of my day to like be somewhere else other than the studio to watch football. If the Packers are playing, obviously I take the day off. But you know me, I'm just like some of the Canucks. I'm a little petty.
Yeah, you are petty, but I won't forget that call that you wished me good luck to the Seahawks before last weekend. Whatever you're betting on, make sure you go do it on FanDuel. Go get yourself a profit boost pack. Make your picks and then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's reading your comments here on Locked On Canucks. This one comes from Aaron Phillips saying, I think it's just a natural cycle. Everything that's going on with the Canucks, we got to embrace the positive, having a fresh chance to build a strong team from the foundations of this organization, which have failed more than it has succeeded. Yeah, okay. Aaron Phillip gave us $10 too, super sticker. I don't know where those $10 go, so you probably shouldn't be sending us super stickers. Just letting you know. But join the Discord, link in the bio. Positives. Let's just touch on that because Aaron's saying a lot, and I'm not going to try to decipher everything he's saying there, but I do believe in being positive and that leading to like greener pastures. And maybe that's what Tyler Myers was trying to do today when he ignored Adam Foote's remarks, like trying to like brush off of it. Let's not talk about that. But to me, negligence is negative. And to me, if you are a leader on that team, after losing 11 straight games, not playing well the whole season, you ignoring what your coach said, to me, and trying to like brush it off and kind of like blame the coach for saying too much, that's the energy I got. I don't like that. Like there's an opportunity there for another leader on the team to connect to the fan base and apologize and be accountable. But what did he want to do from that? He wanted to run away from those comments. And again, maybe I'm stretching this out too much, but this team needs a fresh start when it comes to like who are the leaders on this team. For real. Like to me, that comment screamed, we're okay with losing.
Yeah, I think it was really just trying to brush it under the rug rather than be accountable, right? Because like Myers could have been right. Maybe it was a couple stick slams on the bench in that last game. But like Foote said, this has been an issue that's been going on in Vancouver for a long, long time. And tonight will be an interesting night for Canucks fans, regardless. We haven't said that a lot, and maybe we're grasping for things that are interesting. Speaking of things that are interesting, Kyle, man, oh man, get a load of this.
Trevor's trivia starts now.
You know, Aaron Phillip, shout out to Aaron Phillip today, producing the show. He had a comment said, who's still on this team 3 seasons from now? That might be a topic for another episode. But I did look at the Canucks roster 3 years ago today during a 4-2 loss to the Edmonton Oilers. Kyle, can you name the 4 Canucks that were on that team? And maybe, go with that first. Who were the 4 Canucks that played? There were only 4 of them against the Edmonton Oilers that are still on this team 3 years ago.
Easy, man. Tyler Myers, Thatcher Demko, Elias Pettersson. Huh? Oh, Thatcher Demko didn't play. I forgot he was hurt, right?
Yeah.
Elias Pettersson didn't play too. Brock Besser didn't play.
No. Whoa. You were doing great. Whoa, you got tripped up. At least it was easy.
What are you including Brock Besser in this?
Yeah, so Brock Besser, you named. And you said Tyler Myers, that's 2.
Hronek, Garland.
Garland was 3 and Pettersson was 4. You I don't know why I said Pettersson was injured. Pettersson did play in that game.
I know, but Hronek too. Hronek was there. So it's 5.
No, Hronek wasn't in this game. This is January 21st, 2023.
Sorry, I was like, I don't know why I thought I'm traumatized from round 2. Anytime you mention the Oilers and the Canucks in the past, you know where I'm going.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy looking at this lineup from again 3 years ago to the day. The Canucks had in this game Travis Dermott, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Andrei Kuzmenko, Curtis Lazar, Will Lockwood, Lane Peterson, Riley Stillman, Jack Studnicka, and Spencer Martin started in net. That feels like a long, long time ago. There's been a ton of turnover on this roster, and there will probably continue to be a ton of turnover. I mean, of those guys, Pettersson, Besser, Garland, and Myers. Kyle, maybe I'll ask you this. Who do you think is the next to go?
Pettersson. I'm convinced Pettersson's getting traded, man. I know Elliot Friedman came out yesterday saying he's not willing to move his note, whatever, all that jazz, but I smell a breakup, dude. I smell a breakup. And all you guys saying, like, we got to hold on to this guy because who's McKenna going to play with? Give me a break. Give me a break. Like, for real.
Yeah, well, that cannot be a primary concern for the Vancouver Canucks. It's not about who's McKenna going to play with or who's Stenberg going to play with. Yeah, that don't matter. It's about building to win Stanley Cups. And by all means, like, just keep him out of Vancouver next season anyways. Come on.
Yeah, 100%. Trevor, I saw this comment that was making me think, you know what? Let's just read it. Glibbity Globberer is saying, it's crazy. Y'all just speak like, how do we know he doesn't care anymore? How do we know Pettersson doesn't care anymore? Y'all are just a bunch of groupthink, moronic sea monkeys. And I'm out, y'all. Have fun toiling in your negativity. Okay, maybe we're wrong about Elias Pettersson and like the this and that and like the Quinn Hughes of the world not caring anymore. We're probably wrong. But you know what we're right on, Trevor? And maybe we should be saying this more so. I say it more than you. You're more rational than I am. But they don't care enough. They don't care enough. And to quote Shorzy a million times again, it doesn't hurt these guys to lose. So again, they don't care enough. And the losses, it could be an agonizing place to play right now as professional athletes. Like, you think anyone's happy? Of course nobody's happy, but I don't think the pain is making them grow and get out of this. I think they've checked out and they're okay with being on a bad hockey team and kind of going into each game thinking they're not going to win or they have no chance of winning. And to me, again, that just screams not caring enough. Like, I want dogs on this team that no matter what, strap up the skates, play in front of people who pay to watch them play, and believe that when they enter that rink, they're going to win. They might not, and that might be based on talent and whatnot, but I kind of want guys being irrational and being humble. Like, you think Kiefer Sherwood looked at the roster and was like, oh, we're going to lose today? No way. He's doing whatever it takes to win. So, yeah, I'm wrong on these guys not caring, but they don't care as much as they should.
Yeah, look, maybe we'll end on this note. I think the notion that you say that they don't care enough is probably fair, but I think these guys care. I think there's a talent deficiency in this team. I think these are guys that their confidence gets rattled too easily. We've seen that with Besser. We've seen that with Pettersson. And now they're the guys. And I don't know if they were necessarily prepared to be the guys in a Quinn Hughes-less, JT Miller-less world. You know what I mean? Look, there's a long autopsy you could do on the Vancouver Canucks here, but there was a quote from Ian McIntyre recently where he said he talked to Brock Besser on the road about the losing streak, and he said he thought Brock Besser was going to tear up. Like, it does make me think that the guys do hate to lose, but there's just not enough talent. There's not enough speed on this team. And that does fall on roster building. I think the other thing you can read between the lines with is Elias Pettersson. The fact that, he's not seen around teammates off the ice, the fact that he's not mentioned as a leader by this coaching staff, I think there's a couple of red flags there. And like I said, on yesterday's episode, it's probably time to move on from the Pettersson era. Look, no one likes to lose, but did these guys hate to lose? Does it grind their gears like every night? I'm not sure if that's the case. I'm not sure, but I know this Canucks team severely lacks talent. But we'll see if they can get it done tonight, man. Teddy Bluger back in the lineup. It's all good, baby. That was another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name's Trevor Beggs. That guy is Kyle Bowen. Shout out to you and you for tuning in. If you like what we're doing, hit the goddamn like button. Subscribe to the show on YouTube, on the podcast side. Go follow us. Leave a 5-star review. I'll be at the game tonight, and we'll talk to you here soon on Locked On Canucks.